kind of malady that is afflicting the whole region. Look how Barbadians now in a country. All they have is demonstration. But workers in this country like to pay the penalty because we docile, we prefer to starve till we die. We must try to stand against the government in this way. They kick them out, but now they're living better today. But they say that can't happen here. Criticism, we don't really care. That we strive and suffering, but the sun in sink is still shining, shining. The sun in sink is still shining. But the drum of change are beating. Politicians they pondering if they listening. Only heaven knows. The Christian council in this country better take note. Don't wait till the last shower to take off your clothes.
Share the light, share the light.
The recent shooting of the young fella remind us we are not immune to the abuse of unchecked power, and that our leaders are not in tune to add insult to injury and gross insensitivity. They shield the gunman and they pass him out on parade. While his mother keeps suffering, no compensation for pocket. Oh, it's a shame, it's a despicable charade. Lucky thing we only have more. It will not be blood and guts all about. This could be a last warning, but the sun in sink is still shining, shining. The sun in sink is still shining. We have to stop living on lies. There is a dark cloud in the sky. When will it fall? Only heaven knows. Those trigger happy policemen better take note. Don't wait till the last shower to take up your clothes.
Share the light, share the light.
Say this is so free and lucky that we come into complacent on a time bomb sitting so tightly, just waiting for the explosion. So when the sun refuses to shine, don't leave your clothes on the line. For heaven's sake, take them up before it's too late. We have to learn from our neighbor's mistake, from the little, small, and the great. We kept our faith, we could have retaliated. The nations of revolution but the sun and sink is still shining, shining. The sun and sink is still shining, but we still living carelessly, taking action so reluctantly. When shall we learn? Only heaven knows. All politicians in this country better take note. Don't wait till the last shower to take off your clothes.
Fear the Lord, fear the Lord. Yes, the man director, the message back then to the farmer administration: don't wait till the last shower to take up your clothes. I'm DJ Maurice, and I'm coming to you live and direct from my bunker here in the Republic of St. Paul, St. Kitts. And my message to Prime Minister Joe: please, don't wait till the last shower to take up your clothes. I warn you of the mess that you would end up in if you did not take advice that was given to you. So now we are in that situation that we've been facing for the last couple of weeks, couple of months, because you choose to listen to whether the wrong advisors or the bad advisors, Prime Minister Joe. As the DJ always tell you, I'm only a phone call away. This problem can be resolved quickly. My good people, if you're scrolling the web and you bump into us and wondering what this podcast is all about, let me drop a clip here and let you know what this podcast is all about.
Wednesday evenings are heating up. Log on to DJ Maurishaw's Facebook Live broadcast every Wednesday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. It's a frank and candid exploration into the social, cultural, political, and economic issues affecting our federation. And just in case you missed it, you can also catch the broadcast on his YouTube channel, DJ Maurice. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube and smash that bell. You will be notified whenever he goes live. DJ Maurice, every Wednesday evening, Facebook 6 to 8 p.m. or thereafter on his YouTube channel, DJ Maurice. Log on.
Yes, you heard it right, my good people. We are here each and every Wednesday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. local time in the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis. And if you missed us, you can catch us on our YouTube channel. Now we're going to jump into Dwyer's commentary in a bit. But before we get to Dwyer's commentary, let me give you a listen to one of our legend here, the man Dr. Garfield Alexander, giving you his prediction of the DJ's work.
DJ Maurice, I don't want you guys to take your eyes off him. Remember, he's been around for some time. Let's go back to COVID and lockdowns. The gentleman came in, was locked down in quarantine, and then realized the total hypocrisy, tyranny, and oppression of the then administration during our most horriblest time. Spoke out. Not only spoke out, became an activist. And then you know what he did? Organize and centralize. And he never stopped organizing and centralizing until Timothy was gone. I don't even want to talk about the involvement he had before and the Douglas administration and the Harris. We ain't gonna talk about that. I'm just talking that during COVID, that man, both on this front, locally, and in the US, waged war against tyranny and oppression. One simple man, a DJ as he calls himself. He never called himself an engineer or anything else, just a DJ, because he understands the power of voice. And not just voice, autonomous, independent, honest, transparent voice always wins in the end. So it could be persons with unlimited power and unlimited money. He somehow always becomes the David against the Goliaths. Be careful with him. Be kind to him. Watch him. Because trust me, he's going to triumph in the end again.
Yes, my good people, that's a prediction there by the man himself, the legend Dr. Garfield Alexander. And we are at it again, as promised during the 2022 elections. I ask for you, the voters, to give Dr. Joe and his new team a chance to fix the damage that was done by the former administration to our beloved federation. And some of you asked me what guarantee I have that they will do any better. At the time, I said I could not guarantee anything, but one thing I can say is if for any reason I see the slightest sign of a repetition of that damage or worse, I'll be the first to come to you, the citizens of this country. And I have followed through and I've done just that. My good people, even a blind man can see the country is in a mess. We are in worse shape now than 2022 when the Drew-led administration took over this country. There's a lot to discuss this evening, and whether you want to hate the messenger or not, let's deal with the facts. That's all we have to deal with. But before we get into Dwyer's commentary, I just want to give a quick update on the awareness march for next Friday, the 26th of September. The gathering of the march was supposed to be over there in front of the Rams supermarket. That has been changed to the West Bus Ferry Terminal there, downtown Bastia, right there by the ferry terminal where the buses are. We're going to be gathering there at 2:30. March kicks off at 3 p.m. So please, as I said before, get in gear. Let us save our country from these imposters. So in the meantime and between time, let's stand by for Dwyer's commentary for today, Wednesday, September the 17th, 2025.
Greetings. We are at another milestone as an independent nation. On Friday, 19 September, St. Kitts Nevis will be 42 years old. A very young nation, one of the world's smallest. And we have made some strides over these 42 years, but I believe that we could have and should have done better. I believe that we should be doing better. And I believe that one of the reasons we have not done better is that our people have not been and are still not being adequately prepared for the opportunities, the challenges, and the responsibilities of both individual and national independence. With candor and respect, I say, there is simply too much ignorance in our country. And by ignorance, I mean lack of information, lack of knowledge. I believe that a lot of this ignorance exists because too many leaders, public and private sectors, whether by choice or by lack of ability, are more like sharks in a sea of darkness than dolphins in the clear waters of enlightenment. And progress is not fueled by ignorance, nor is enlightenment fueled by darkness. For the most part, our political, corporate, and social leaders, whether by intent or inability, have not done enough to foster a mindset of individual and national independence, and have done little to turn our institutions into pillars of democracy. An example of this failure of leadership is this blatantly faulty constitution that we have. After 42 years, we should have long restructured it and carved out a model of democracy which works for us. That has not been done. But how can that happen with self-serving or otherwise unworthy leaders and massively uninformed and underinformed followers? It can't. And make no mistake, if and when the people realize that they're being uninformed or underinformed, they have an obligation. When you realize it, you have an obligation to yourself to your dignity, to your self-respect, to ensure that you are informed. The people must be sufficiently alert and proactive to make sure that no obstacles are placed in their path to information and enlightenment. And one of the main culprits in this bad situation has been the media. The role of the media is to ensure that the public gets information, relevant information, to create a platform or a reference point for public debate, to encourage an environment of robustness with civility and tolerance in the debate of public issues, to serve as a watchdog for the public and for democracy, as it holds those with power accountable, and those with power in all sectors, political, economic, and social. The media can be as important as the courts when it comes to the protection of constitutional and other rights. It is so important to our rights, to the rule of law, and to good governance that it is referred to as the fourth estate, or the fourth branch of government, after the judiciary, the legislature, and the executive. Sadly, however, our media isn't anywhere near close to performing that role. The truth is, especially with a market as small as ours, these media houses, which are after all businesses, let us face that, they are so dependent on government and big business to stay afloat financially that they are afraid to offend any of these big players. They're afraid to lose business. So they abandon their sacred duty as the fourth estate, and in the process abandon their obligation to the country. But they are scared, and we know why. Because if something is said or a program played on any of these media houses that upsets any of the sponsors in big business or government, then what often happens is that the media house gets a call scolding or threatening. In other words, interfering with, stifling, and trying to control the narrative. It is as though big business and government are very thin-skinned, and you must not say anything that they don't like. Otherwise, they stop paying you. They stop engaging you. It is their way or the poorhouse. This is not how democracy, tolerance, and these good things are promoted and sustained. It is bad enough that the media allows itself to be manipulated and pimped out by these powerful people. But it is worse that big business and government would want to hold back the people's progress, and by their own heavy-handed efforts at censorship, compromise, and democracy, set the country back when they should be exemplars for setting the country forward. What are they afraid of? And that is just the private media houses. ZIZ, which is the government-owned media house, is worse and has been this way for 64 years. 64 years from day one. And it has not changed, not substantively. ZIZ has never been allowed by politicians in power. And all parties have been in power. It has never been allowed to operate without heavy-handed political interference. The party in power uses it as its propaganda arm. Mind you, it is owned by everybody, by supporters and non-supporters, but it is used as a political weapon against the non-supporters, using their money, their resource. If that is not conversion, at least in the political sense, then I don't know what is. And if it is not a crime in the court of law, it must be a crime in the court of public conscience. It is a shameful, brazen, and callous violation of the public trust, and it is an unconscionable act of disrespect towards the many talented and well-intentioned persons who have worked for ZIZ over the decades. Great journalists, great DJs, great personalities, great examples for our young people wanting to be a part of a proper professional media operation, but find themselves entangled in a government propaganda setup. And all of this needs to stop. So my wish for year 43 is that we encourage and fight for a more vibrant, proactive, and independent media, and a freeing up of ZIZ. Blessed independence. Thank you.
Well, Brother Dwyer, thanks for that short commentary. You know, Dwyer, 42 years of independence will be upon us in the next couple of days. And you really only could have found 6 minutes, 39 seconds of a commentary for such an important celebration, 42 years of independence, Dwyer. You made some claims there about media houses and journalists that are afraid to speak out because they don't want to offend. But Dwyer, my grandmother always told me about picking the beam out of your eye before you start picking beam out of other people's eye. You're no different to those media houses and those journalists who are afraid to speak the facts, you know. because I know, Dwyer, you know a lot more than you're saying, and you could have pumped a lot more into this commentary. Even a 25-minute, I would have accepted at this time, Dwyer. So since you dropped short and a couple of the things, let me help you, because you know you're my partner. So let me just remind you of some things that you could have dropped in the commentary. For example, we are talking about independence. Independence from Great Britain. That is what we are speaking about, Dwyer. This constitution that we have since 1983. As a matter of fact, one of the things that always bother me, and I do not know why no one have made any stink about it, Dwyer, because according to our constitution, if a citizen has a second passport, a citizen of birth by this federation, St. Kitts Nevis, get a second passport for another country, they are claiming that they took an oath of allegiance to a foreign power. And in order for that citizen to run for political office in our beloved federation, they would have to renounce their citizenship. We know a few people had to go through that already. I think people like Sean Richards, Lindsey Grant had to renounce their citizenship to the US. And I think Dr. Douglas recently had a similar situation with a Dominica diplomatic passport. This is what we fight against. Citizens cannot have a second passport. They cannot have allegiance to another country and run for office. But look at what happened after these individuals who may have had citizenship of another country via a passport. Once they give up that passport and they run into in elections in our beloved federation, once they are successful, and even those who are not citizens of any other country are being successful, like in the case of Prime Minister Joe. Once they are successful at the polls, in a blink of an eye, the same constitution gives them the responsibility to then take an oath to a foreign power, allegiance to, it was the Queen, now the King. That never sit well with me, and that I still don't understand the thinking of our people. And that need to change. That need to change. Because while these politicians are these candidates that we campaign hard for, and you guys know that the DJ went hard in the last election, when they get into office, I witnessed Prime Minister Joe and his team on the 13th of August 2022 at Warner Park. They took allegiance to a foreign power. You know if it was the king or the queen at the time, but I know one of them. They took an oath to uphold our constitution. They took an oath to defend the country. They took an oath of allegiance. Secrecy, sorry. And it appears as though thus far what we sure they have been doing is fulfilling that oath of secrecy to the fullest, them taking it an extra mile with their lies and misleading the country. And as the program progresses this evening, you will be hearing some things and you'll understand what I'm speaking about in regards to what this Joe-led Labour administration, current federal government, have the country in a mess. My good people, I had this podcast set and ready to rumble with some information over the last couple of days. I'm going to talk about the SSZ, the Christoph Harbour, the prison project, the CBI, the march, the Friars Bay situation, the Reguel Francis St. Kitts Marine Work situation. Those are things I was coming to hit you with this evening. But then, last night I was hit with some information, very disappointing information. The things that I warned the Prime Minister about while I was doing a project for him at the JNF, I warn him on every opportunity I get. Mr. Prime Minister, I cannot tell you who to hire and who to fire. But my observation with what's taking place at the JNF, the people in authority, the people who got up there running this place, is either they do not know what they're doing, they are trying to undermine the situation, or they just don't care up there. And then he brought in an actor, and the actor's supposed to fix everything. How did the actor fix everything? Taking pictures and shooting them all over social media, taking credit for work they didn't do, went out and changed up to uniform and whatever. That is what they see as important, a facelift, some kind of cosmetic presentation instead of dealing with the issues at hand. Well, I think we all know my situation. I spoke out about many of the things that was not going well, that I spoke about softly, that I could not get through. And as promised, after 2 years, I'll speak publicly. So I started speaking publicly. Thanks to the man there, Azad Gums, for inviting me and his podcast on March 11th. As a result of me appearing on that podcast, I was given a gift of a separation letter by a young man. But when we look at what is happening today at the JNF, it's very clear that that young man that presented that separation letter to me should have been receiving a separation letter from me or somebody else. Because the actor just does not fit in the position that he is. There are many definitions for PS. Some people could call them PC if you want. You could call them all kind of things. But I will not disrespect the gentleman because I like him as a person. I respect him as a person. But he's just not ready for that job. And when I spoke about the situation some time ago when they took credit for my work, everybody went into the high house to get upset with me. And instead of them let the actor continue to act and prove himself, he came back and boast, brag that he got his contract until 2027. 2027 to mash up the institution. Because, my good people, it's not one person I spoke to, you know. I spoke to several people about what is taking place at the JNF. I remember scheduling a meeting with the head of the civil service. Supposed to be a 5-minute meeting. And that meeting went for in excess of an hour. And I was asked by the head of the civil service, have I presented my concerns to the Prime Minister? I said, yes, I have. And what happened? No result. We're going to have a meeting, we're going to this. Trust me, they had several meetings, you know. But the DJ with the experience and the ability to execute and make things happen have never been invited to those meetings. So to every time I speak to the Prime Minister about the happenings, they call meetings, but the DJ have never been invited to one of those meetings. So the problem continues. But I want to thank the Prime Minister for accepting that meeting back in March, where I had the opportunity to give him my honest opinion of the situation, because at that point I make up my mind that I can't be a part of this mess. And I cannot mislead the country. I cannot lie to the citizens. So whatever it is, it is. And that is when I told the Prime Minister straight up, you seem to have a problem with me and my podcast and everything like that. So I will continue to speak out until I see changes. I advise the Prime Minister to come to the country and give the country the facts. because many of the things that I heard him reporting on social media and Freedom FM via whatever medium was a lot of lies. So my good people, with what's taking place today, I come back tonight to reinforce, and I'm going to tell the Prime Minister tonight, I'm only a phone call away, Mr. Prime Minister. It is not too late to fix some of these issues in the interest of the country and the citizens. Lives and liberty are at risk with the people you got up there. Right? I told you, feel free to invite me out as you invite me in, because I'm not going to mislead the citizen. You said to me, Jeffroy, that's not it. That is not like that. I said to you whether it's like that or not. Feel free to invite me out, because the DJ is going to always be upfront with the citizens. Well, it appears as though it might not have been like that then. But a little interview with Azad Gums on the 11th of March gave me a separation letter on March 12th, which I thank them for, because it gave me the opportunity now to speak freely. I was speaking before, but could not really come direct to the people, because I would not mess with my ethical standards and put you under the bus or throw you under the bus, like they would say. But let's deal with it today. Let's deal with the immediate situation we're dealing with now. And I want to hear the labor rights, the supporters of labor, whether you're a minister, supporter, you're on some kind of river board or whatever. Let's deal with the reality of the day. When I'm seeing this breaking news about dialysis patients cannot get their dialysis done, my good people, I work in the health industry for over 40 years. However, my work was mainly being an electrician, but I had to deal with a lot of the other departments. I had to deal with the health and safety, the hazmat, and all of this stuff. So being an electrician was one part of my thing, but the overall health, from the stationary watch engineers that watch the boilers and the cooling system and the air conditioning and the plumbers and the carpenters and the painters and the maintenance mechanic, I was the representative for those people. I was the shop steward, the delegate. So I had the opportunity to do trainings for every single trade. I cannot speak for other people out there, but this young man from St. Paul's that is speaking to you this afternoon, over the 40 years, I have had the opportunity to go to classes, go to trainings, go to various institutions around the country, the entire US, and train people. I am a certified trainer. That is what I am. So coming to St. Kitts, I was happy to come here and did my service at the JNF, which I never had get the opportunity to do, because to every step of the way, there was blocks put up to stop me from doing what I'm saying. I think I did one training while I was at the institution. And I trained the maintenance staff, one session, and everybody was very impressed with that session and said they wanted more like that. They never scheduled another one because they have an issue with empowering our people. They want to hold you back. I listened to the Prime Minister making a statement there last week on a clip about some TVEC civic classes that 16 weeks training and you are certified to work any place in the region. That's misleading people, and that's a damn lie. And the Prime Minister knows that. No one can become a PS within 6 weeks. No one can become an electrician within 6 weeks. When at the same time, someone in the stature of DJ Marisha with over 40 years of experience, you all don't want to give what is due to him. 40 years of experience, certified. You all give him all kind of hell to give him what is due to him. But you're come telling me now that a 16-week course, you're certified and you can be appointed as a civil servant. Mr. PM, stop blowing things in the people. So the reality of the day today is this. There are citizens that has missed at least 2 sessions of dialysis. Do we understand what that means to someone, a life-saving procedure? When someone should be getting dialysis 3 days a week and they miss 2 sessions? And when they're calling up the hospital to schedule their appointment, they're telling them that they don't have, well, they're telling them they have technical issues. They're not telling them really what's going on. But what are the technical issues? They don't have the necessary renal equipment and fluids to do the procedure. They run out of it. The country don't have none in it. Neither St. Kitts nor Nevis. They cannot dialyze the people because they don't have the necessary equipment and the renal pure acid, the bicart Reviclear, which is used to dialyze the people. And instead they come to the country and tell the people why these people cannot be dialyzed is because they don't have the necessary supply. They tell them it's technical issue. What is the technical issue? They are trying to get the RSS to fly in these things from, I guess, some nearby island, which so far has not been successful. These liquid, these fluid, they're heavy. So to try to ship these things via FedEx or any kind of airplane is going to be very costly to the country. Now, my good people, keep in mind, this problem ain't just happen overnight, This problem ain't just happen overnight. I did some investigation. There's a young man by the name of Mr. Floyd Buchanan from Sandy Point. While I was at the JNF, I happened to see Mr. Buchanan and had to deal with him a couple of times. Very nice guy. And though he may not have had the necessary tools, space, and everything that is required to do the job, he was holding on the place. Whenever I needed stuff, he make it happen. But out of bad mind, that is one of the person that was victimized. And I could say he was victimized. Because in speaking to a management staff at the JNF, I watched them harassing that man, pulling him in meeting, putting him to a drill. And when I asked a question one day, they tell me they got to get him out of there because he's Sean Richard's cousin. Now, if somebody is qualified to do their work, does it matter who family member it is or what party they support? So I understand some 6 weeks ago, this gentleman who was the Central Medical Stores manager was shipped down to Pastoral Hospital to do what down in Paxton? Down in Paxton, even the pharmacy down there, they're not operating. The pharmacy is closed because the pharmacist, they say, is on vacation. So it's closed until further notice. So someone who is a pharmacist by trade, who is on record as the medical stores manager, why are you going to take up somebody with that kind of experience and rest them down in the Paxton Hospital to watch? Kill ants, to kill cockroach, to kill mosquito? That's what they put him down there for? Well, look now, they do that we have a situation, a deadly situation at the JNF that have never happened, from my understanding, in the history of JNF, where they run out of these fluids for people to be dialyzed. And there's a lot more going on up there now. There's a lot more going on up there. But I don't want to come here and put the JNF on blast, because there are some good people up there in management, nurses, doctors, the various staff. There are some good people up there. In the physical therapy, in the eye clinic, I have seen these people. In the psychiatric department, maintenance department, there are some good people in the kitchen. So I'm not here to blast the workers. This is from a management perspective. They continue to screw up. And I rest this at the foot of the Prime Minister, the Minister of Health. I don't know if you all can recall, some time ago, when the question was asked of Premier Brantley about the hospital wing in Nevis, why it's not finished and whatever. He said whether that wing finish or not, the healthcare system, nothing changed. That's what they say. Whether that building is complete or not, it don't make a difference. But look at where we are today. Those people that have to come across from Nevis to the dialysis 3 days a week, what condition are they in today? I have seen people who miss 1 and 2 sessions of dialysis in North America, and I see the colors that they turn and how their body broke down. Are we saying because we support a Labour Party to hell with the people that cannot get their treatment and Sarah, go up to Springfield Cemetery, put a wreath on the grave, and that is it? Are we going to continue to call out these people, this incompetent leader? Prime Minister Joe, you are an incompetent leader. You are an incompetent Minister of Health. I can tell you that today. I have done my investigation. I have looked at everything. You are not fit for the job. If you guys really just wanted to travel around the globe and do whatever you want to do overseas, all you should have took the portfolio of Minister of Tourism and get some junior ministers to run the other ministries. Because this DJ could have done a better job as a junior Minister of Health than you, Mr. Prime Minister. From my observation and everything I have brought to you, had you took the time out and do just a few of what I advise you to, we would not be in the mess we're in today. The citizens should not be going to this. My people, there's a lot going on, And like I said, there's only 2 hours I got to give you all on a Wednesday afternoon. So I'm not going to stay on that too long. But let me drop some clips here as we get into the groove of things. Because at the end of the day, this conversation not going any place, eh? So for those of you who are upset with me, you're going to have weeks of getting upset. My good friend Naomi Bacha had tell me what we were done at the mission. Marisha, I'm here supporting my Labour. I'm not here to support you. And when they get into office and they start messing up, don't call me because I ain't coming to fight my Labour with you. Well, Naomi, I can tell you, I don't need you to come fight my Labour with me. I want you to come stand up for your country. Do not see your country dying and don't let a helping hand, Naomi, because guess what? The time may come that you all come to St. Kitts for a visit and get sick. And you all might not have the luxury to jump on a plane and go back to North America for treatment. So I am asking you guys, you all don't have to do it for the DJ. But please, Come out on Friday, next Friday, the 26th. Let's do it for country. Let's do it for citizens. Because this government is not it. This government is definitely not it. Don't we talk about our AG? Because all of these things I'm saying here this afternoon or this evening, had the AG took a simple phone call from me when I called him last week, I would have spoken to the AG about this quietly. But the AG don't want to hear from the DJ. The AG don't like what the DJ is saying. But like I tell them before, they either speak quietly or they're going to hear it loud. We're going to go across to Nevis. We're going to speak about the SSZ. We're going to spend too much time on it, but we're going to give a little overview of that situation. Because again, they started out in a town hall in Nevis, where the premier tell a citizen that he did not know what they're talking about. But a couple of weeks later, we see what the result are. We see they know about what's going on for maybe not weeks, months, but years. They've been planning these things. So let's take a listen to Sister. I think she said her name is Miss Lawrence.
Is to come to people so you could hear from them. So please don't try to shut me up, okay? I have a right to speak as a Nivision. I have a right to speak as a Gingerlander. I live in this community, so please calm.
Miss Basley?
My name is not Miss Bazzi. My name is Carlin Lawrence.
Carlin Lawrence.
Okay, Miss Bazzi works at Nevis.
We're scheduled to stop at 9 o'clock.
What I am asking for Mr. Scarborough is the premier. I have to ask here because the average person don't know. We're hearing it. It could be a rumor and it may not be a rumor. And since we want to play games with words, since the real estate agency, right, that is being said to be dealing with the developer is Mrs. Brantley's agency, then I have to ask.
Mrs. Lawrence, if that is some attempt to drag Mrs. Brantley's real estate agency, as you say, into your rumor mongering, then I ask you to desist. Miss Lawrence, hear me out. You asked a question. You have come to the town hall meeting. You have premised a whole debate tonight on some rumor that you say you have been hearing. I don't know how am I supposed to respond to that. I respond to facts. I respond to situations that we are aware of that are on the ground. I said to you that the government has had no formal proposal setting out any project of the kind that you've described.
But that wasn't my question.
I've said that 3 times. And every time I've told you that you're going back to say what you hear, your rumor, what you hear.
I didn't ask if the government had a proposal before it, I asked to please explain to the people or to shed some light on what we are hearing.
But how can I shed light on what you are hearing?
So you don't know?
I don't even know where you're hearing it from.
Okay, you don't know, and it's unfortunate, Mr. Premier, that you don't know as the leader of the island. That to me then falls on government to make sure it looks out for the people and let us know what's really going on in the area.
Well, I think that's fair, but as you say, you started by saying rumor, and I would be a fool as Premier to sit up here and say I'm responding to every rumor. If I had to deal with every rumor that I hear every day, I would have no time to do the actual work for the people of Nevis. So if you have rumors or you're listening to rumors, I would suggest read the Bible instead.
Maybe it's not a rumor.
Because I am saying that we as government have no knowledge of what you're speaking because no formal proposal has come to the government. I explained that. So here you are talking about rumors and you're asking me as Premier to respond to rumors. I say read the Bible, read Genesis. I think it's a far better use of your time.
Mr. Premier, are you confirming that it is a rumor? Are you confirming that it's a rumor and there's no truth to it?
But I don't know. Am I not speaking English? I'm trying my very best to explain that the government has no proposal before it for any development of the kind that you say is rumored. That is what.
So my good people, this is somewhere I think is either July 5th or 10th. There was a town hall meeting there at Nevis where this young lady apparently was asking about the SSC zone land grab, because apparently, as we progress with the clips this evening, you will find out that the Prime Minister's wife, a realtor on Nevis, apparently was reaching out to individual for the land sale. The problem is that we're going to find out that even if this project was supposed to be something positive about it, is the way it was handled and the lies that was told by the Prime Minister, by the Premier, and even our AG is up in the mix. This AG don't miss out nothing. This AG is always in it. So let's take a quick listen to this caller on Freedom FM last week as he asked a question of the AG in regards to this special zone bill that was presented in Parliament maybe a week or two after that town hall meeting. Could be more than 2 weeks, but it was presented on the 11th of August for a second reading, I understand. So let's take a listen to this caller and the game that our AG continue to play.
With plenty ice backs and all kind of stuff to carry them back. I want to get rid of them. Okay, listen here now. Earlier you say that like the rich girl pie in the sky. And
no, he didn't say that.
No, I said that in the past there was a pie in the sky.
Exactly.
These developers are actually proceeding to construction before the end of this year.
Right. And then you are saying that if not happen, it will be a pie on the ground.
Yes. No, I said yes. If they leave, if the developers leave because there is obstruction to them proceeding, then it'll be a pie that fell on the ground, and nobody will benefit.
Exactly. Jeremy, me listen well, you know. But it will be a pie that just disappear, or a pie that vanish. You know. Anyway, AG, I want to ask you one quick question, and then we gone. The law that passed in the Parliament where I cause so much controversy in Nevis right now. You get me asked the Premier question, and he said that he did not put in no input. It was just the AG office is the one that draft that bill. So me ask you now, because this is a freedom. You get any input different to the AG office to draft the bill, yeah?
Let me explain what the bill does. I think
That's not what the man asked you. He asked if there was any input by the Premier.
No, there's been a lot of misinformation. Jamie, if you could give me 30 seconds.
Okay.
So a very simple question. Yes or no? Did the Premier Office or the NIA or anyone in Nevis had an input in this bill? A simple yes or no question. Listen to the AG dancing.
All the bill does is allows the Prime Minister to enter into development agreements for the creation of a special sustainability zone. Mm-hmm. If there is a zone proposed in Nevis, the Premier and the Nevis Island Administration must be a party to that development agreement. Uh-huh. It does not create a zone. Mm-hmm. In order for a zone to be created with special rules in Section 6, it must go to Parliament as the development agreement itself. Mm-hmm. And everybody gets to see the terms, everybody gets to have the debate. I think this debate is a little premature because this bill is not controversial in any way. It could potentially be that a development agreement bill could be controversial, but we are putting the cart before the horse.
So was there any collaboration with the AG's office and the Premier? That's the question.
There was and the Premier? No.
Or from the Premier's office?
No.
Any contribution from Nevis?
Potentially.
Potentially?
Yes, because I'm not the drafter.
Okay.
You want me to bring my drafting team on board? I'll bring them on the show with me next time.
Just find out from him.
No, but no, okay. But I understand what the question is seeking to do. It is a federal bill. It can apply in St. Kitts or Nevis, as explained during the debate. And the debate is available on YouTube. I wasn't part of the debate, but the debate is available on YouTube. It has the potential to create different types of zones that can bring economic benefit to St. Kitts and Nevis. The debate that is occurring right now is in relation to what the Premier is saying about Nevis.
A potential zone.
And I'm not getting involved in that. The NIA has their legal officer and so forth. All I can say is that I know what is controversial and what is not. The Special Sustainability Zones Authorization Act is uncontroversial because it is preliminary in nature. If a zone is going to be created, there will be a special debate. And Jamie, you know sorry for carrying on, but you know what a complaint I always get? That, especially from Mr. McMahon, we want to see the agreements from the opposition. We want to see these agreements. This act says if an agreement...
That the agreement will come before Parliament.
What's more transparent and accountable than that? Then we...
Mr. AG, the Constitution gives the Nevis Island administration the autonomy or the power to do whatever they want with their land. They did not need to come to the federal parliament to do anything. As the AG, you should know that. Cut out the spinning. Stop trying to blow stuff up the people's backside. You all need to cut it out. It's time enough that our people understand that you all mean them no good and you all need to go.
We could have all the debates we want to have about a potential sustainability zone.
Okay. But the question is whether there was collaboration with the Nevis Island administration and the AG's office. So next time you come?
No, the input, no. I can tell you no, because the input for amendments that occurred in Parliament came in Parliament.
Okay. Okay, gentlemen, we are out of time.
Yeah, sorry.
We had a very lively program this afternoon, a fiery program at that, and we heard the opinions of many.
And facts too.
And facts, yes. We heard the facts, we heard the opinions, and we even got a call from the Cabinet Secretary himself. So, can we wrap up the program at this point? And again, Attorney General, you do have to come back. So.
We usually wrap up. Go ahead.
Just to say, Jamie, as I said, freedom of speech is very live in St. Kitts and Nevis. I just encourage people, and maybe because I feel extra proud today, seeing the students, seeing how bright our young people are visiting the schools, in the primary schools in the eastern area. I want our people to grow up in a society where there's robust debate, but I want that debate to be on facts. Everybody has differences of opinion, and we have to respect other people's opinions, but let them be on actual, real information, not on misinformation, disinformation, and propaganda. That's what I ask. The government is pro-business. The government is pro-people. Right? The government doesn't favor investors over our people. Why would a government choose to favor investors over our people? No. But at the end of the day, we have rules and laws. Land ownership is a sacrosanct right. You cannot take away land ownership from anybody without compensating them. Right? And I wish people would come to the media, whether it be social media, whether it be journalists. In 1975, if somebody had an issue, they would carry it to a journalist. And you know what the journalist would do? Call the other side. And you know what would happen? The story would be published with the perspective from both sides. Unfortunately, in this instant society with social media, positions come out without hearing the other side.
Brother AG, the reason why information comes out without hearing the other side, because you all don't take calls, you all don't return messages, you all don't return calls. So naturally, the journalists have to work with what they have. You guys believe because you don't return a call or you don't answer your phone, the story not going to be written or to be told? Well, you all have something else coming, you know. Because the DJ going to do his due diligence. And I'm going to bring whatever I have that appears to be correct. And most of the time, if I'm not 100% on target, it's 99.9% Brother AG. So continue to ignore the calls. Continue to not return the calls. The people that I have to empower is the citizens of this country, the residents of this country, home and abroad. That is my job I give to myself. So you all continue to play the games that you all are playing. But thank God the people are waking up, because I am getting those phone calls. I am getting those messages. If not on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, I'm getting those calls. And people are now realizing that the things that I have been presenting over the past 3 years, and more so the last couple of months, they're seeing the truth. They're seeing you all for what you all are. Bad actors. The Prime Minister spoke about bad actors in Parliament. But one thing I realize is that the Prime Minister is quite capable of speaking about you all, speaking about himself, because you all are doing a lot of bad things to this country. Listen to these clips I'm playing. These are your all actions. Nobody do it. You all do it to yourself. Let's continue listening.
I hope that today, and my only goal today was to bring the facts, to help the debate to be realistic based on the facts, and everybody can form their opinion after that. I'm always willing to come on the air, to elucidate, to explain. I sit down and I write summaries of every law that has been passed. I'm going to be very careful with the SSZ summary that I make. But it is what it is. It is not controversial, and I really enjoy robust debate. I enjoy debating Mr. McMahon, because he hates government. He thinks government is the worst thing in the world.
That's not true.
That's my opinion on things he has said.
He loves his country and the people.
I love my country too.
Okay.
Yeah, I love my country too. And I just want to wish everyone a happy independence. Be safe. Enjoy the calm that we are enjoying. Don't take it for granted. Don't participate in breaking it. And let us continue to live in a country where peace abounds.
So my good people, that is the mentality of this AG and the government as a whole. If you don't agree with everything, with the wrong that they're doing to this country, you're anti-government. You're not a citizen of this country. You should not enjoy this country. They either want you to be chased out via the cemetery or via the plane or the boat. But they must continue to do wrong, and you're supposed to sit down and accept it. Now, you heard the AG said that the NIA contribution to the SSZ bill was during Parliament. Well, I have a clip here, you know, and I believe that Mark Brantley has a different view. And I want to thank my boy Banky and his partner there and the program Everything Agriculture to bring out some facts via the Premier and leader of the opposition. Because according to the Premier, that bill was sent to his legal team and Nevis before it was debated. So don't just take what the DJ say. Listen to Premier Brantley for yourself.
For the opportunity again. The Special Sustainability Authorization, the Special Sustainability Zone Authorization Act was passed on the 11th of August, 2025 in the National Assembly. Let me correct one thing, Banky. Not all legislation passed in the National Assembly automatically applies to Nevis. It depends on the topic. It depends on the subject matter. So in this case, this legislation provides in its terms that it will apply to Nevis, and that had to be with the consent, therefore, of the Nevis Island Administration. The Constitution provides that where legislation is passed in the National Assembly on a matter over which the NIA has responsibility, the NIA can signal its acceptance that it would apply to Nevis, and so this legislation does that. I want to go back in time for a moment. I have been, since I was in the national government up until 2022, and since then I've been in the role of leader of the opposition at the federal level. I have been advocating for efforts to diversify the St. Kitts Nevis economy. I don't think, gentlemen, that it is any secret that we have been incredibly dependent on citizenship by investment. The citizenship by investment goose has been laying that golden egg for a very long time. And I think in many ways, the country has become addicted to CBI. It is quite clear to me, and I think to others who are observing, that the CBI has come under tremendous international pressure. I'm not going to debate whether that's fair or unfair. It's simply what it is. And as a consequence, I expect fully that that goose that has been laying the golden egg is going to get a lot thinner, a lot slimmer, and that those eggs are not going to be as golden as they used to be. So I have been advocating for opportunities, innovation, that we get to a point where we have, of course, other options to fuel our economy. You mentioned cannabis. That's one of the things that I've said, listen, let's get on with it. And this notion of a special sustainability zone was one innovation.
Yeah, Premier,
yes.
I know the bill was tabled to the House from the federal government, right?
Yes.
So those are the one who came up with the idea of the bill.
I don't know, but I don't know who came up with. I don't know who came up with the idea.
Well,
I don't know.
The reason why I'm asking, which means Dr. Joe have the same idea with you, basically, and the U.S. Minister of Syncit, because it's everybody realizes the CBI probably going within a situation, so which is the perfect idea that both. Well, I guess that coincidentally everybody had the same idea. So,
well it's not.
Since the federal government came up with the bill, that's what I'm wondering. It come out perfectly with your alignment when I was saying the federal government is going. So they see the same way the CBI is going into dropping, not making the same amount of money. So I'm asking if they had the same idea, or you both had the same idea, or the idea was discussed.
So who had the idea? Who didn't have the idea? I can't say to that. It's a national bill.
I mean, if the federal government, since they may one who tabled the bill and bring the bill to Parliament. Yes. Because the bill, I'm not sure if the same bill could have have in Navis. I'm not sure. Could the same bill have done in Navis? So that's what I'm saying. I'm just trying to understand what is done in Syncits.
Okay. So the National Parliament the bill was presented in the National Parliament because obviously this is a national effort. So what the bill seeks to do is to create a framework to allow these zones to be created on Syncits and on Navis. So Nevis couldn't do that because we couldn't pass legislation in Nevis that would allow a zone to be created in Syncit. So this legislation allows that zone to be created on either island, and that is why it was done there. The legislation had my support on the first reading. It was presented by the Prime Minister. And on the second reading, it had the support certainly from myself, the Honorable Eric Evelyn, the Honorable Alexis Jeffers, and then on the government side, it had the support of the Honorable Jeffrey Hanley, the Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas, and if I recall correctly, the Honorable Connors Maynard. I could be corrected on the last one, but I'm certain about the previous ones that I mentioned. And then, of course, the wrap-up was done by the Prime Minister. Looking at the bill itself, gentlemen, I don't see that the bill is particularly controversial or difficult. There's really nothing about the bill that I see.
Premier, you realize you still really answer the question. I'm trying to over if the bill could have passed in Navis, or since the Prime Minister and his cabinet came up with the bill, right? Because I want everyone to listen and understand the bill and appreciate what the bill is intended for. So I want to have a clarity breakdown because I myself trying to understand these things too. So it's just a general question I'm asking. Since Syncit passed the bill into Parliament, our company, because David who tabled the bill, I don't know how long this bill come to take into fruition before each Parliament to draft it. You're the legal mind, so I want to give me an idea. Well, you draft bill before, but this particular one, which is I said to be a massive bill, but if since Syncit is going with the idea, one if you and Dr. Joe basically see, we also the CBI going into a serious situation where we're losing funding and the US, the United States, and everyone is watching the EU. So which means if there was consultation between you, consultation between both Syncit, Nevis, and NIA, or Dr. just came up with the bill by himself, but which you supported the bill, or if you wanted to support the same thing, or you could have passed the bill in Nevis, and it is done like that. Or I just wondered if there was some kind of collaboration about the bill.
You're taking me all around the place. So let me try to kind of I get direct. Yes, a bill could have been passed in Nevis, right?
Yes.
But there's certain provisions that these zones may have, like, you know, issues in relation to taxes and the like within the zone.
Okay.
That I believe that is why the Attorney General took the decision that the bill be passed in the national parliament, because there is a need for the national government to be engaged.
Okay. So,
did the NIA have sight of the bill? We did not draft the bill, but we had sight of the bill because, of course, there were provisions in there that impacted Nevis, and the question of how a zone could be created in Nevis. So that bill would have come in draft to our legal advisor in Nevis on that issue, because the provisions that impacted Nevis, obviously, we would have liked to have seen.
So you froze, Yason?
No,
the Premier froze?
I think it's the Premier. I think it's on his end.
The necessary protection that we need. I'm sorry, are we back?
Yes, you
got
frozen.
We're back. We're good. Yes, you froze a little bit. Yes. Perfect.
So we were satisfied that the necessary safeguards were there, and that control of lands in Nevis would remain firmly with the NIA. And it is on that basis that we said, fine, we had no objections to this bill.
Okay, so Mr. Brantley,
yes.
To be clear, because I think this is one of the questions that I'm seeing popping up even in the feed, you were not responsible or part of the crafting of the bill, as you have just explained.
Yeah, well, let me say, language is important. You say the crafting of the bill. I did not draft the bill. No.
Right. Okay,
I did not craft the bill. No. The bill was created at the Attorney General's office. That's a standard operating procedure for any bill that goes to the National Assembly. But what I'm saying is that this bill in its draft form did come to our legal department because it had provisions impacting the island of Nevis. And we clearly had to be satisfied that those provisions were satisfactory to us.
So my good people, a lot of back and forth there now. According to the AG, the NIA did not have any input in this bill until it was discussed during debate at Parliament. Premier Brantley is now saying that they had sight of the bill prior to it making it to the Assembly, where they gave some input via his legal team. Now, who are we supposed to believe? Really, when these guys are throwing the ball back and forth from field to field, from the cricket field to the soccer field, who are we really supposed to believe? But anyway, I'm just dropping the clips and let you, the citizens at home and abroad, take a listen and assess it for yourselves, because we're going to come back at it in due course. I really don't have the time today to get into everything. I'm just dropping some clips that food for thought, food for thought. So let's take a quick listen to what the Prime Minister has to say about this bill as well.
People. It means more construction jobs in the short term and more permanent jobs in operations such as in the energy sector, water, transport, hospitality, healthcare, education, the maintenance, IT, security, and retail. I have to slow down a bit. It means apprenticeships, on-the-job training, and opportunities for local contractors and service providers. It means stronger local agriculture, feeding hotels and residents, and a market for local products, from furniture to food to creative industries. It means better infrastructure that is built to last, and communities planned for safety, beauty, and access to green spaces. It also means higher standards. Zones must be hurricane ready, water secure, energy independent, and clean. They must sort their waste, recycle, and respect our natural beauty. There must be places where families feel safe and proud to live and work. Madam Speaker, how will communities be protected? First, through Parliament's ratification, power and ongoing oversight. Second, through the bill's hard requirements on sustainability and services. Third, through enforceable commitments in each development agreement, timelines, milestones, penalties, and if necessary, revocation. Fourth, through transparency. When a zone is declared, the order sets out the boundaries and key particulars to the public, and key particulars so that the public knows what is being done, where and why. This has to have a strong public relation component. Madam Speaker, how does this fit our broader economic strategy? Our government is pursuing a balanced diversification plan, modernize tourism, scale renewable energy and water security, the agribusiness, expand healthcare, education and professional services, and enable technology and green manufacturing. The Special Sustainability Zone Framework is a way to bring these pieces together so that infrastructure, investment, and job arrive in a coordinated and accountable package. It complements financial reforms, education and skills training, and our push for easier, faster business processes. Colleagues, this bill does three big things. It aligns investment with our Sustainable Island State agenda by law, not by promise. It protects the public interest through Parliament's ratification, constitutional guardrails, and real enforcement tools. It sends a confident message to responsible investors that St. Kitts and Nevis is ready to partner at a higher standard and to move at the speed of opportunity. Let me be clear about what this bill does not do. It does not hand over our sovereignty. It does not create loopholes for bad actors. It does not guarantee concessions or free rides. On the contrary, it strengthens the rule of law by requiring that zone-specific rules and concessions come through this House in full view of the people and in accordance with our Constitution. Madam Speaker, our children deserve an economy that can weather storms, literal and economic. They deserve communities with steady power and clean water, homes that can withstand hurricanes, good jobs that lead to careers, and green spaces where they can play. Passing this bill is a step toward that future, a step where economic development and the protection of the environment and sustainability are all in one framework. We have a chance, Madam Speaker, to be first movers in the Caribbean with a modern sustainability anchored zone framework, learning from global success stories, avoiding the mistakes, and tailoring the model to our size, our constitution, and our values. If we implement with rigor and integrity, this can be a turning point, unlocking quality foreign direct investment, building resilience, and raising the standard of living across St. Kitts and Nevis. Madam Speaker, and honorable members on all sides, this is a transition in our development here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Let us put our Sustainable Island State agenda into action, attract the right kind of investment, and build a sustainable island state together for generations to come.
Yes, my good people. So that is Prime Minister Joe in his address, second part of his address in Parliament about this SSZ zone. But you're going to find out that the same Prime Minister is now telling us, the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, to keep his name out of Nevis business. He have nothing to do with Nevis land, but he put himself in there. However he get in there, he's the one that took this matter to Parliament. Let's take another clip here and we will get into that part of the conversation.
Minister enough for making sure that that becomes a reality. One of the other things I wanted to touch, we also started for the first time training at CFBC for PSs and directors within the civil service. So the civil service is going through a transformation. PSs, I think, I have to say how long the course is, but it's 6 months? 16 weeks course to become certified to be able to lead at that level. People come as PSs and they're not given the tools. They have the capacity and the capabilities, but it's not fair to them. They too should be given the tools. So they're going to go to CS. So I want to thank the Peter Jenkins Organization Institute for joining with CFBC and creating the curriculum for this training for our leadership in the civil service, PSs and directors. And all of them would have to go through this training. And I think that would help us to create a more professionalized civil service. For the first time, this is happening, and we have done it. So again, training and education, these things never stop. They're lifelong things. And so we're going to take the training in all different spheres so that this country can be a country where petitions and divisions are known to be persons involved in continuous learning. Petitions and divisions are known as people who want to become better at what they do. Petitions and divisions are hard workers and smart workers, well-equipped workers. We are striving to establish a sustainable island state. That is who we are. Let's start creating who we are. In the same token, we can have fun and jump up and have all of that, but on the other hand, we are serious people seeking to create a country that is sustainable and a country that will serve us now and serve us way into the
future. So like I said, my good people, the Prime Minister have no respect for people who has years of service experience, but to accommodate his comrades, he is prepared to have them attend some training for 6 weeks and make them PSs and put them in a permanent position because they are some genius and they could do this in 6 weeks, 16 weeks, sorry. So the PM went on a rant there last week asking people not to get him involved in Navy's affairs. But as you heard the previous clips, if Navy's wanted to go into Parliament or the NIA Assembly and did a zone over there in Navy's, they don't need St. Kitts approval. Navy's run their own affairs. But the Prime Minister is the one that introduced this bill, and I want you guys to hear it for yourself. Because the Prime Minister that act like he have nothing to do with something when he's the one that created the problem.
Madam Speaker, with your leave, I rise to lead the debate of and have read for a second time in this Honorable House the bill shortly entitled the Special Sustainability Zone Authorization Bill 2025. Madam Speaker, this bill gives our country a practical tool to attract foreign direct investment and create long-term job opportunities while protecting our environment. It is a framework for doing big projects the right way. Madam Speaker, St. Kitts and Nevis has set a clear direction through our Sustainable Island State Agenda, SISA for short. SISA, the Sustainable Island State Agenda, is our plan to make life better and safer for our people here in St. Kitts and Nevis in this changing world. Of course, this addresses multiple issues at the same time. This was developed, of course, after long months of consultation and bringing experts in the field to have collaboration, which has led us to this strategy, this overall national strategy. This was presented for the first time to the United Nations as a demonstration to the world of how serious St. Kitts and Nevis is with respect to sustainable development.
So my good people, if you listen to the earlier clips back in July, you heard the Premier telling Miss Lawrence that he won't tell you what she's talking about with this SSZ over there in the south coast of Nevis. You listen to all the back and forth. Now here is the Prime Minister telling us that This matter has been discussed for months, even where they took it to the UN. So who are we supposed to believe in these regards when we're getting all of these mixed messages from our leaders? Who wrote, who drafted that bill? Who was the beneficiary for that bill? Why was that bill necessary? Why didn't Navies take care of their own affairs just like they have the power to as per the Constitution? Why did the Prime Minister went and did this thing? Well, my partner Timothy, you know, these days Timothy, he's something else. I understand that Timothy Harris and Sean Richards weren't available for the debate on August 11th. But now that the citizens are kicking up a storm in our beloved federation, Timothy, make sure he's part of the fight. So let's take a quick listen to my boy Timothy.
Why you didn't tell Mark that? Why you brought the law to the federal parliament? If it is Navy's business, if section 37, as he says, say that is a Navy's matter, we'll leave it to the Navy's administration and its assembly there to deal with that particular land matter. You see, the mess now hit the fan. And he recognized this as a problem. The bill was brought by Dr. Douglas. Not Dr. Douglas, sorry. Dr. June. It was supported by Dr. Douglas. And it was supported by Jeffrey. The man who seconded the bill was Mark Brantley. As soon as you finish moving the bill, so he didn't want to be in it, but he's moving it. It is in his name. You see the calamity. You see the foolishness he's telling sensible people. It is Navy's matter. But how you bring it down here in the Senate at the federal level of the parliament. You move it. Mark seconded it. Eric spoke on it. And Alexis spoke on it. And on the other side, it was you. And it was Douglas and it was Hanley who spoke on it. Most of the other government members, really, they had God and the usual free-for-all to drive ways around the country. So they won't there. But that is how the bill can pass. The government did not have 7 members present to give itself a quorum. So they called the meeting knowing that Mark will come down because Mark wants the bill. But Mark was doing a smartness. Let it look like it is a federal matter. It's they dealing with. So when the mess come out now, you could say, well, they ain't got nothing to do with it. But alas, the truth has come out. They're about smarter themselves. And that is a bad bill. It's a bad bill. Because, you know, this was a challenge Batcher faced, you know. Batcher had faced a situation in our country where all the estates were up for grabs. People had begun to sell lands. Jordans over at Borio had sold lands, for example, to the people down at the Monkey Farm. People were beginning to sell piece of what they call their private wealth. And Batcher recognized that the country would not be able to develop properly if he allowed these people to just profiteer. And he went to the parliament. In fact, he had identified 3 critical things, I think, for the 1975 election. One was that we were going to independence. The second one was that we will acquire the sugar estate. Had he not acquired the sugar estate, we would have never get a piece of land for ourselves. That is what government has to do. Protect the interests of the majority of people, especially those who are vulnerable. That is how we begin to get land. That is how proper housing development began to take place. That is one of the reasons too when I came to office, I spent $408 million to buy back land from the National Bank, which Douglas had yielded on the so-called Blandford swap. That is why we were able to get a community center in Atlas, because we took back the land from the bank, paid it. That is why we were able to start housing development at Atlas, because we paid for the land. That is why we were able to have and Daniel become interested in housing and other development at Brighton, because Harris government buy back the land. That is why we were able to get new projects over in constituency number 4, because Dr. Harris government took back the land. And we did all of this on behalf of the people. And when we exited government, having spent $408 million, that is how we get lands in Kearney, you know. All where court is going to live, we bought back that land. That is what happened. That is where the transformation and development of the country is taking place now. Because we had the vision and we understand without land, you're at risk. Every citizen has a right to a piece of the rock.
That's right.
Every citizen. And the nationalization of the land and the subsequent payment for the land allow us to do so. These things that they're now attempting with sustainable soul is to take us backwards. Where a few people come in, they figure they have money, and we don't know money and we don't know value. So we will sell them. They will buy up, and then they lock us up. You know, one day people don't know a lot of things that happen in government. But we had the effrontery, brazenness to come to us and said, you want to lock up down at the Kennedy Simmons. Set up a gate.
Gate.
Gate? How do you mean gate? I mean to put something across. He said, yes, but it can be a nice thing, very decent. That can't happen here.
Gated community. No gated community.
Figure they have money and they have a color different to yours. Yes. You give them a step, they're going to take many miles.
That's right.
You have to be careful. Careful when we are giving our patrimony, our land, and all that it represents for us as people who would always be displaced. Displaced. There was a time in this country you called to get a piece of land and the man in the estate tell your grandfather take the piece there. You could set up something. We had no title.
Yeah.
That is why we brought in the land, what we call it, Calvin. Freehold land. Calvin was there working in my ministry. The freehold land. And we said that if you had been living on the land since 1967 or before, we will make that land available free of cost.
Yeah. Wow.
Free of cost. That's what happened when I was a minister under the government there. So we must not go back here. And Dr. Jew is being a hypocrite. And I would say dishonest, but you could use liar. It's the same thing in relation to this man. He's very much involved. He brought the bill. He supported it as he must, because he's bringing it. And it was his ministers and Mark Brantley and his team that voted for it. And the bill gave him, of all people, the right to sign off and be special zones.
So my good people, it appears as though listening to Timothy's speech is that the reason for him and Sean Richards not being at Parliament on the 11th of August was to ensure that they didn't have a quorum to do that damage that they was trying to do to the country. But by the premier coming down from Nevis with his team, he basically gave them that quorum. That is why they was able to pass this SSZ matter. So I would have to speak with Sean and Timothy to get some more clarity on that. But you know, my good people, I am happy that the people in Nevis more so stood up and stand out. And I want to big up the NRP team there, the green team in Nevis. I want to big up Sister, the leader there, Honorable Janice Daniel Hodge, and his team of folks there. Brother Carlisle Powell, the man Daly, Brother Tulu, Dwight here, and the team there, Brother Jeff Pemberton, and the folks that came out and supported this rally last Friday there in Nevis. I want to also thank the people of Nevis for the welcoming that they gave the DJ there at that event. I have been to Nevis, and I understand the people in Nevis, they don't really come out and march like us here and St. Kitts. So I was very impressed with the turnout of the people that I saw at that rally. It started off a kind of slow. I see one of the CCM operative at the start of the rally in a distance taking pictures, I guess to report back to his leader. But that's all part of the political game. So, you know, you can't be upset with your opponent monitoring your operations. But it would have been nice if that operative had stick around long enough to see the end result, because it was a real good turnout. And it was not just NRP supporters at that rally. I had the opportunity to speak with a few people who are CCM supporters who have a big issue with this SSZ situation there in the south coast of Nevis. So I would hope that the Premier and the powers that be in St. Kitts and Nevis understand that though this law is gazetted, I understand, and it is into law, is not favorable by the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. So they really need to do something about it. What they should have done in the beginning is some consultation with the citizens before going down that road. Never too late to fix the problem. And it is not just the DJ opinion on that. I'm happy to see that we have some pastors even speaking on the matter and giving a voice to the situation. So let's take a listen to one of our stalwart pastors here in our beloved federation.
Some of us have become so thirsty that we are willing to sell the clothes off our back for one drop of water. And you know what is troublesome? Our people sometimes encourage us to do that. Now, let me give you an example. There was a piece of land next to a piece of land that I owned. And I bought it on one end, and another resident of the community bought it on the other end. It came to my attention that the resident that bought it on the northern side wanted to buy it, and the owner was willing to sell. I went to the owner and I said, in as much as I would love to have your land, do not sell it. Do not sell it. He said, Pastor, I said, let me tell you something. You have to be drop dead in need. And even then, don't sell it. Leverage it at the bank, but keep it. Do not sell it. I said, I would not come to you because I know if I come to you, you will sell me. But I'm not going to do that. And instead, we instruct our people on how to build an empire. We allow them to sell their birthright for a mess of pottage, a glass of wine, a game, and they travel on. And the future generations have nothing to show for it because of desperation. And we then, in my mind, must ensure that there is a new realism that is taught and actioned into our society. It must be clearly taught and actioned into society so that our people understand, man, that tomorrow the circumstances may change. You hold on to what you have. You may not be able to develop that land, but you inculcate in your children or grandchildren that when my eyes close and they put me in Springfield Cemetery, my spirit will hover over this property, and you prophesy over them. You're going to have a big business right here because they can accomplish so much more with the education and the exposure that they have, but you leave them empty-handed and squander your birthright. And it's imperative that we have leaders who are concerned, because those who went before, that was their concern. You have leaders.
Yes, so that is a serious message here from our pastor. And the pastor didn't stop there, The pastor is really paying attention because the pastor dove into the CBI.
Before people started making a big fuss about CBI money, I often used to wonder, if we have so much money, why our social services are the way they are? With all the money we had, no good hospital, no good schools, no good airport, no good roads, no water system, no electricity. I know somebody gonna vex with me today, but that's okay. With all the monies that we had, we should have been the envy of the Caribbean. After all, we started the process before them. After all, we were in Dubai before them. After all, we're smarter than them. Jamaicans, we're smarter than you. I have some Jamaican friends online. We're smarter than you. We should have been further ahead.
I support that, Pastor. I support that. Some of them old boys that is just there robbing the country blind. Not one of them should be re-elected. So let's the pastor continue preaching.
You have leaders after 7 terms and 6 terms. Well, you don't think nobody else could manage the affairs of that country? And then you want to tell me that you are so black conscious? I don't care how active you are. When you reach a certain age, you need to go rest. You need to go rest. I ain't no doctor. I'm not very bright. But the little bit that I know, clearly your body falling apart. Your brain ain't working right. You need to go and rest. And anybody who have proper sense in their head should not vote for nobody in those kind of age brackets. I prefer to make a mistake with the young person than with those people. They need to go sit down. Anybody on my side? Yes.
Yes, my good people. The Citizens Empowerment Coalition is going to put up some young people and some seniors. People who wants to help the country and help the citizens. Not them old people there that just pocketing overseas. Because guess what? I understand right now, some of them have some problems. They got family members that in certified or qualify or quantify to do certain things, but they're doing all kind of thing in our banks. So let's take a quick listen here to Brother Ian Patches Libard giving a little update.
Guerrilla National Bank is under criminal investigation by the White Collar Crime Unit of the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force. This investigation stems from a 31-page criminal complaint filed at the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, the DPP, Adlai Smith, since June the 20th, 2025, by the local company. The DPP had this complaint for 2 months, but give him the benefit of the doubt. He comes across like a thorough man. Remember when he was investigating the murder, the homicide, vehicular homicide, how long it took? But he had this complaint for 2 months. And he must have deemed the allegations serious enough to warrant a comprehensive investigation by the police. So therefore, 2 months thereafter, on August the 19th, Adlai Smith sent the file to the White Collar Crime Unit of the police to commence the investigation. I said to you earlier, I have been in contact with the complainant, a local company. I tried as well to contact the other party that has been complained through its managing director, Terence Crosman. Unless Terence Crosman has discarded my telephone, then he ought to have my number. And if he's hearing me, someone will tell him that Ian Patches Libard tried to touch base with him so I can get his side or the bank side of the story. It's nothing new, Terence, you know. We've always contacted each other.
Because yes, so that is the reporting from Ian Patches Libard that there is some investigation into the National Bank for some wrongdoing. Now let's take a quick listen here to a little news item. Glenn Barth reporting on the Prime Minister Joe and the St. Kitts Marine Works.
When asked about the development of a commercial port in New Guinea in relation to facilities now occupied by St. Kitts Marine Works Limited, Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew at his 12th September roundtable with the news media said the issue with the SKMW land is separate from the port development, saying the business operated by Reginald Francis will remain. SKN Newsline questioned the Prime Minister to clarify the situation following statements made by Attorney General Garth Wilkin, who was responding to statements made to SKN Newsline by Mr. Francis, who believes that government is threatening to evict him from the land in order to set up a container port involved with Nigerian funding and entities. The claim comes also in association with a US $40 million loan agreement signed by the St. Kitts and Nevis government with Afreximbank and Gemini Commodities Limited for the construction of a facility called the New Guinea Dock and Moorings, which Mr. Francis believes is to be located on land now occupied by SKMW. In clarifying the situation, this was Prime Minister Drew's response.
With respect to the land in New Guinea, I think the words of the Attorney General, they speak for themselves. I think there are two different matters here that we should not mix. One is the Attorney General addressing a legal matter that is taking place there, and one is talking about a port development. And they're two totally separate things at this particular time. And the government has no interest, as the Attorney General would have said, with respect to that. There are studies going on as to how we can expand our port facilities here. And of course, you mentioned that the Honorable Samuel Duggins is pursuing that with a company and pursuing that in collaboration with the African Bank. And they are two completely different things at this particular time.
This name that the minister gave to the reporter, New Guinea Dock and Moorings. I don't know. It's confusing. It suggests some kind of location or
right. So
what
he's suggesting that it will be in New Guinea. What I think people are trying to link this to is where the St. Kitts Marine Works and Services, I think that is what the company is called, is located. They're two completely different things. One has nothing to do with the other. So I would advise people not to link one to the other. What is happening in New Guinea with what the minister is pursuing has nothing to do with what is there at this particular time. What is there at this particular time is there. That has nothing to do with this. That is an established business that is operating, and I wish all businesses to do well. And so there is no link between both of them.
According to Dr. Joe, feasibility studies are being done to determine where in New Guinea the port will be developed.
Yes, my good people. So that was a report done there by Brother Glenn Batt in regarding to the current situation with St. Kitts Marine Works there at New Guinea. Now, as we're getting close to the top of the hour, as I said, it's a 2-hour program. There are much more clips to be played, lots more conversation to be had, which we'll have to continue this program next week. But in the meantime, I have to drop my ads and big up my good people here, like my boy there, Brother Carbo, across there in the Sister Island Navy. So see what Carbo has to say to us.
Cabos, located at Fountain Village in Nevis, is the go-to spot for your Saturday treats. Tantalize your taste buds with his delectable Cabos Delicacy Goat Water. Or, if you prefer some soul food, then Cabos Punji and Fish is definitely the way to go. Call ahead and reserve at 869-663-9694. Then make your way over to Cabos and enjoy the vibrant atmosphere while you savor your delicacy. Cabos, we are not changing, we are only improving.
Food all over, food all over. You got the food all over.
Yes, Brother Carbo has the food all over Nevis there. Just that Carbo, not DJ Marisha sent you. Now let's take a quick listen to Sister Carmen of Carmen Caterers.
Girl, Sandra, you know where you can find nice, fresh local food 7 days a week, one provision and all kind of thing. Girl, where? Right down there by Shellings, by Carmen Catering Services. Girl, she opposite the bus stop. Girl, and she also cater for weddings, parties, anything you want to cater for, funeral and all. Girl, and trust me, you're gonna enjoy the food. And she also selling bites and Sundays. Opposite the car shop, right down the main road. Girl, you could call 665-1494 or 663-6005 to order your food or go and pick up your food. Girl, the food will be finger licking and you get your money worth. You ain't want nothing better than that.
For sure.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, guess what? Carmen Catering Service will be having independent lunch at Boyd's Village. So come on out to get your nice little independent lunch. We also will be giving away cake and free drink along with your food. So see you there. It's right on the main road opposite Agavo shop.
You heard it right. Sister Carmen is telling you that she'll be right there in Boyd's Village in the bus stop, right opposite Agaro shop there in the Boyd's Village area and Independence Day. Come on out and get your Independence lunch. And on a weekly basis, Monday to Saturday, she's located right there in Shirlane, right opposite the West Ferry Terminal there in downtown Bastia, from midday until 5 p.m. So when you check Sister Carmen, just let her know DJ Marisha sent you. Now let's take a quick listen to my boy here.
3 3A's Auto Services is your one-stop auto care shop. Are you looking for reliable auto care you can trust? At 3A's Auto Services, we keep you rolling safely and smoothly. Tire sales and installation. Quality tires for every vehicle expertly fitted. Vehicle repairs and maintenance. From small fixes to major repairs, our skilled team gets the job done right the first time. Friendly, professional service, honest advice, fair pricing, and a commitment to keeping you on the road. Don't let car trouble slow you down. Drive in today and experience the 3A's difference. Visit us at Main Street, Sandy Point, St. Kitts, or call us at 869-664-2204, 869-667-2071, or 869-665-0605.
Yes, that's the man there, Brother Aston Coker. Just let him know that DJ Maurice sent you. So, my good people, as we come to the end of the podcast for this evening, I wanted to drop you a track, but that's going to take up a little time. So I'm going to save that track for next week. But I want to remind you that come next Friday, 26 September at 2 p.m., we're going to be over there at the West Ferry Terminal in downtown Bastille, getting ready for an awareness march. So don't forget to come out and represent yourself. You're not doing this for the DJ. You're doing this for yourself. You're doing it for your country. Save your country. These bad actors that we elect are not going to do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. So as the King Arrow says, will you stand up and see your country dying and never let a helping hand? And the answer to that question is no. The DJ will.
Your country dying and never lend a helping hand. Would you see your children's future dwindling, creating much disillusion? Or would we watch on idly, disregarding our self-sufficiency? Maladministration building a brand new nation. We'll move on together hand in hand. Rise, citizens, arise. The country is yours, all yours, still yours. nation, building a brand new nation. We move on together hand in hand. Rise, citizens, arise. The country is yours, all yours, still yours. Can your conscience be clear? Indulging corruption or misusing public office, being accused of unemployment and crimes, or disrupting a citizen's peace. Oh, my country in this harmony, separated politically. Hatred for a brother, cannot love each other. No, I say no, not at all. Citizens, let's unite and stand up for rights, all our lives and our lives. Let us reintegrate and correct our mistakes. Reunification, building a brand new nation. We'll move on together hand in hand. So rise, citizens, arise. The country is yours, all yours, still yours.
Yes, my good people, and that's the end of yet another successful broadcast to the Wednesday, 17 September 2025. I want to big up the good people at Island Purified Water, Main Street, Newton Gum, St. Kitts. Want to touch the man, Brother Powell and team, thanking them for keeping the DJ hydrated whenever I am in this beloved federation. Remember to support businesses that support you. Want to touch the folks there at the Alfredo's restaurant as well, near Town Bureau there by St. Kitts. And don't forget, anytime you can go to Alfredo, take a visit and just ask them you want to guess what the DJ had the last time he was there for lunch. And once you guess it right, they will give you a lunch compliments of the DJ. So I know many of you have tried and failed. Continue trying. You might just get lucky. The menu only have on but so much. So you keep trying. I guarantee you, at some point in time, you will get it right. So check out my boy Ken and the team there at the Alfredo restaurant, Newton Bureau, St. Kitts. Let them know that DJ Marisha sent you. Touching my boy, the brother Jeff, Freights and Son Enterprises there in the Molyneux area there. And the Freights Bakery there in the Bowery Estate area. Big up to yourself. The man Peter Sadler Funeral Home. The man there, brother Peter Jenkins and the Jenkins family. The man Paris and the Paris Pharmacy there in town. Smart Fit clothing store there and Central Street right next to Skellig. Big up yourself. The man Tango Lasco there in downtown Bastille there where you get your tire. check out the man Tango and he'll take care of you. How about the man Carlton DuPont over there in the Pelican Mall? Hope all is well with you, my brother. At this point in time, my good people, we got to run and call it a night. So look forward to seeing you next week. Same place, same time. Don't forget to get your placards and get yourself organized for our march next Friday. September 26, 2025. We're going to take to the street and let them know that we are paying attention.